Motivation comes and goes, being based on how you feel. That's why most people go to the gym only when they feel like it. Discipline is what leads you to go because you must, regardless of how you feel. Discipline is non negotiable. Motivation is not your friend. Motivation is only a feeling, and as such, waiting for motivation is holding billions of people back. If you must do 75, motivation is doing 50 push ups until it hurts, then justifying that you did enough. Discipline is what makes you do the last 25 with sweat dripping off your forehead into a puddle below you. In today's video, I want to talk about something very important. People often say, man, if I was only more motivated, then I'd be able to get it done. If I was only more motivated, I'd be able to go to the gym, or I'd start that business, or I'd study, or I'd ask that guy or girl out, or I would do it if only I was more motivated. Now, see, motivation is great. It's really easy to do what you need to do when you feel like doing it. The problem is you will not always feel like doing it. A lot of times, in order for me to become who I am today, a public speaker, author, and live the life I have now, there were a lot of times I had to do things when I didn't feel like it, but I had to do them. I don't always feel like sending these emails. I don't always feel like making a YouTube video. I don't always feel like doing it, but I know I need to do it, so I do it. And at first, when you have a goal such as studying for that test, or getting your first job, or improving your grades, or going to the gym, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. You're gonna be like, man, this is the worst thing ever. Like, it just sucks. I remember when I first started emailing schools, I would send like 15 and I would just be exhausted. Like, it was so mentally draining. But I knew every day if I just keep putting in the work, it will get easier. And little by little, I got better and I got better and I made progress and boom. Now, how can you apply this to your life? Very simple. Figure out what do you want, such as I want to improve my grades. I want to get a girlfriend. I want to build muscle in the gym. I want to get into Harvard. I want to get my first after school job. Okay, that's our goal. And when we set a goal, it's kind of like our mind splits into two. There's the version of you that wants the goal. There's the version of you that knows I can achieve this, I can do better. But then there's the version of you that's like, no, well, if we start going to the gym, then, we're going to have to wake up early and it's going to hurt and it's going to be uncomfortable. And, we should just stay where we're comfortable. And for most people, they listen to the part that says we should stay more comfortable because it's so familiar. Like, I've been doing this my whole life. And to get here, I have to leave all of this. And when you leave all of this, it's going to hurt. It's going to be different. Maybe that might mean, what if people start judging me? What if they look at me? What if I do the workout wrong? What if I get hurt? What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? And you have to hear that, but listen to this. And that's a hard thing to do. But every day when you hear this, but you listen to this over here gets a little quieter and a little quieter and a little quieter and a little quieter until eventually you wake up and you realize, I don't feel like it, but I'm getting it done anyways. I don't feel like going to the gym, but I'm going regardless. I don't feel like making a YouTube video, but I'm making it regardless. And that's when you develop something called discipline. The ability to do what you need to do even when you don't feel like it. And the people who can do what they need to do when they don't feel like it, those are the ones who will be able to improve their grade the most, or build the most muscle in the gym, or become the best at a certain skill, not because they were just born good at it, but because they do more of it. It's a pretty simple math equation. If John does 3 days a week and Robert does 5 days a week, at the end of the year, who do you think will be better at it? Obviously, Robert, because he did more. He showed up on the days when he didn't feel like it. He studied those extra 15 minutes. John said, I'm going to do 30 minutes of studying, but, around 20 minutes, he's like, but I'm tired. I did enough. I'm not going to do the rest. But Robert over here says, I'm tired too. I don't feel like it. I don't want to keep studying, but I said I'm doing 30, so I'm doing 30. And when you apply this to your life, think of how much it's going to improve. Think of all the things that will happen when you keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Think of all the things that you'll be able to achieve when you're able to show up on the day when you don't feel like it. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Lawrence, how do I show up on the day when I don't feel like it? Because there will come days when, this part over here that's like, no, stay in bed, sleep in, hit the snooze button. It's going to get really loud. So, Lawrence, how do I hear this but listen to this? When you catch it, you just say, okay, I hear it, but over here. Do one more push up. Do one more minute of studying. Do one more of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Because over time, this builds up your brain and it builds up your mind to know that even when I don't feel like it, I can keep going. Now, obviously, you don't want to completely burn yourself out, but it's pretty hard to do that actually. Now, here is what happens inside of our mind. In our brain, we have this thing called neuroplasticity. You can think of your brain as like this computer, and your actions, behaviors, thoughts, and beliefs program the computer. So every time when you don't feel like doing something that you know you should do, but you do the thing anyways, it's like your brain adds a little new line of code that says, oh, we do things even when we don't feel like it. And every time you do that, you stack more code and more code and more code and more code, and you start like building up this mental fortress where the outside, like the old you, can't get in. And by doing this, it also builds up this thing in your brain called the anterior mid cingulate cortex. I believe I pronounced that right. It's this little part in your brain that is associated with motivation and your will to live. That's what it does. So ironically, the more disciplined you are, the more motivated you become. The more you do it when you don't feel like doing it, the more you're able to do it. Because if you can do it tired, if you can do it when it's hard, if you can do it when you don't feel like it, on the day when you do feel like it, you'll really feel like it. So, to make this very actionable, like, okay, Lawrence, what step by step blueprint? Figure out, firstly, what is the goal? Second, after you know what your goal is, figure out what action do I need to take. So if it's improving your grade, that might be studying. It might be hiring a tutor. It might be playing less video games, getting more sleep, and studying for the test. Doing your homework on time. Maybe you go to after school lessons that the teacher has to, work on the homework or something. Maybe you become friends with the smartest kid in class. Maybe there's a lot of things you could do to study. You get the point I'm making here. So now you're going to start doing the thing that you need to do. And you're going to notice yourself get tired. You're like, man, I've been studying for 30 minutes. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. You say, okay, I hear this. I notice this. I feel the emotion. I feel the thoughts coming up. And you catch it and you say, all right, I hear it. I feel it. I know what's going on. But one more minute, 5 more minutes. And then after those 5 minutes, you're like, okay, I went a little bit past the old comfort zone. And your comfort zone is going to be like this at first, like it's really small. But then over time, it goes like this. It's a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And before you know it, your comfort zone is like this. And that's when you're able to do what used to be impossible. An example of this is when I first started going to the gym, I couldn't do a pull up. Then eventually, I was able to do one. And that was like a lot for me. I could only do one pull up. But with time, I was able to do 10, and then 15, and then 20, and then 50, and on and on and on. And I got better at it because when I would notice, like, it's really hard, boom, I would get that last one in. And when you take that extra step each day, you get a little better and a little better and a little better and a little better and a little better, and boom. And you can apply this to any area of life. If you're really unconfident, like when I first started making my YouTube videos, there was a lot of like, and I would go on these tangents. But I would just make another video and another video and another video. And now I'm able to talk clearly. I'm able to be focused. I'm able to speak. I'm able to do these things. I'm able to go up on these big stages in front of hundreds of people and not be so afraid. And I do feel a bit afraid. I do feel a bit nervous at times, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. So, the takeaway message of this is figure out what you want, what you need to do, and when it gets hard, just do a little bit extra. And that little bit extra over time, you start stacking up the ability to do things even when you don't feel like it. Because as I said in my book, links in the description to buy it, you're able to realize that motivation is not your friend. It is a feeling. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is doing what you need to do even if you don't feel like it. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you happen to be a school principal, podcast host, or run a youth organization and you're looking for speakers, you can contact me with the links below. As well as, if you happen to be looking for one-on-one coaching with me, you can get that in the links below as well. Have a good one.